Hi, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to present you Reverse HTTP, a protocol and an HAProxy feature. My name is Amaury Denoyel. I'm a developer working on HAProxy at HAProxy Technologies. First, let's present the problem we want to solve with this new feature. Imagine you are at home and you have received this new cool IoT device which exposes its functionalities through an HTTP service. You have set up it and you can manipulate it at home. Everything's fine and it's great. But now you want to be able to access it also from the outside, for example, from your work office or everywhere from the internet. This is not as easy as it could be because your home service is hosted behind a NAT router. So you have to configure this router via its clumsy web interface to be able to route the internet traffic to your service. These steps are also similar when you are a developer and you are working with Docker containers and you want to be able to give access to your containers outside of your host machine. The process is similar to a NAT configuration, and it's also not as easy because you have to remember the IP address of the different containers and which port you want to relay. So let's bring HAProxy into this to solve all these processes. Let's say that HAProxy, in the case of the home service hosting, is installed as a gateway on the internet. Its objective will be to relay traffic so you can connect to the gateway to access to your service. But the NAT traversal is not yet solved. This is now when we introduce reverse HTTP. The service, the home service, will connect first, so as a client, to the gateway. This will allow to bypass the NAT router. The connection is set up between the service and the gateway, and the connection is flipped, which means that the gateway is now becoming the client and the service is the server. This is enough, and now as a user, you can connect to your gateway and browse freely to your home service bypassing the NAT firewall. In fact, reverse HTTP has a lot of different fields of application. I've already talked about the NAT scenario. It is even more useful if your router implements CGNAT, because in this case, you do not have the full control over which ports can be forwarded. So in this case, reverse HTTP may be the only solution to host a service at home. The situation is similar also if you do not have a static IP address for your router. Reverse HTTP can solve this by using a central HAProxy gateway. Reverse HTTP is also useful in development context. Imagine that there is several developers who are working on a web application. It is frequent for these developers to want to be able to deploy their application, to be able to test it outside from their laptop. Imagine they may want to access it through a mobile phone to be able to test the web rendering. In this case, we could provide a central gateway so that each developer can connect freely when the application is ready to be tested. And each developer can then access to the application, to the web application via the gateway. Each developer can then connect and disconnect freely as their application is ready or not to be tested. Reverse HTTP is also useful in security context, in particular when the HAProxy gateway is installed in a DMZ environment. In case of reverse HTTP, HAProxy do not initiate any more connection on its own. This is the responsibility of the service to connect first to HAProxy. So this means there is no outgoing connection from the DMZ. So as an administrator, you can add new firewall rules to ensure that such traffic is blocked. This is better from a security point of view because this ensures that even if an attacker gains access to one of the machines in the DMZ, it won't be able to use it as a vector for a relay attack. And finally, reverse HTTP particularly shines under dynamic environment. In particular, when the config on the gateway is not specified. You do not have to write anymore the endpoint, the IP address of the different services. So this can already be achieved via dynamic servers, HAProxy feature. However, with dynamic server, you still have to connect to the gateway to be able to activate the new servers as they become available. With reverse HTTP, there is no more an interaction on the gateway. Each server connects to the gateway, and it is instantly available without any activity required on the gateway. So it's one step further on the dynamic aspect. Let's review now how the reverse HTTP tunnel is established. So on the right, we have a developer who is currently working on a web application on its laptop. We have already installed an HAProxy gateway, and there is clients on the left who may want to test the application. For now, the application is not ready, so the developer is not connected to the gateway. Now the developer is ready. It connects to the gateway, and the connection is flipped. So the gateway becomes the client, and the dev station is on the server side. So in the context of reverse HTTP, we say that the development machine is the dialer. It is its responsibility to initiate the connection. Once this process is done, this is enough, and clients can connect to the HAProxy gateway to be able to access to the web application of the developer. So, a summary of the basic principles of reverse HTTP. This feature has been introduced in HAProxy version 2.9, so roughly about 1.5 years ago. It is still experimental, not due to any functional limitation, but more because we expect that it may still evolve, and in particular in the configuration aspect. So there may be breaking changes in future HAProxy release. Reverse HTTP relies on HTTP2 protocol for the reverse of the connection. This is required because this protocol allows to multiplex several client connections on a same backend connection. And finally, of interest, reverse HTTP as implemented in HAProxy is in fact quite similar to an already existing IETF draft. However, as of today, HAProxy is currently the only known implementation of such a protocol, which means that if you want to test reverse HTTP, you have to use HAProxy on both sides, so on the gateway, obviously, but also on the dialer side. In this case, HAProxy will act as a sort of a sidecar to expose the internal service through reverse HTTP. So here are two samples of configuration to be able to test reverse HTTP. On the left side, there is the configuration for the gateway, and on the right side, the dialer. First, let's focus on the gateway side. The gateway has two frontends, a public frontend for external users and a frontend dedicated to dialers. So note that it is not at all mandatory to have such configuration. You can arrange the frontend as you want, but for clarity purpose, it's better to separate them. The public frontend, so if external users start to connect to the public frontend, they want to access to the server labeled as dev. This server uses an HTTP address, which means it cannot initiate connection on its own. So as dialer has not yet connected, external users will receive an HTTP 503 error code. There is not yet any service available. The dialer are expected to connect to the second frontend, the RHTTP frontend. Once the connection is accepted on it, we do the reverse thanks to the new attach server rule. So this rule will instruct to first do the reversal of the connection, and then the connection is inserted to the targeted server, so the dev server. It's inserted into its idle connection pool. The connection is now idle, and users can connect now to the public gateway and use it to be able to access to the dialer and the service behind it. Now the dialer configuration. To open connection, the dialer relies on a bind with also an HTTP address. This bind specifies an internal backend to be able to specify the endpoint of the gateway. Also of interest, this bind specifies an nbeacon parameter which instructs how many connections the dialer will open to the gateway. We recommend to use at least a number equivalent to the number of threads running on the gateway. If less, some users may still face some 503 error code. And finally, for the dialer configuration, we saw at the bottom of it the service which is exposed through the dialer. So in this case, it is on the loopback address on port 8080. Let's talk more about security with reverse HTTP. So with the sample configuration so far, there is no security introduced. This means that, in particular, every dialer could connect to a gateway, and this means that external users may browse to an unknown dialer instance. This is probably not what you want as the gateway administrator. There is no built-in feature in reverse HTTP for this. Instead, you simply have to rely on standard TLS. So here the configuration has been updated, and each line, so on the gateway and on the dialer, we activate SSL. You also have to understand that the TLS handshake is performed before the connection reversal. So on the gateway, the connection is still on a server side. So to be able to verify the identity of the dialer, you have to activate verification so that mutual TLS will be performed. Now you can generate a certificate authority file and use it on the gateway side. You can derive multiple certificates from it and distribute them to the different dialers. A particular aspect of reverse HTTP is that a server which uses an HTTP address can in fact be used to access different physical machines. This is one specificity of reverse HTTP. If these different machines are used to host a similar service, it may not be really a point of problem. But if you want to use different services, each dialer has a specific service, you probably want, as an external user to the gateway, specify which dialer you want to connect to. So the simplest solution would be first, on the gateway, to declare a new server line, and each dialer will be associated to its own server. However, it's not very scalable. A better approach, a more dynamic approach, simply relies on HAProxy ability to differentiate idle connection in the same pool. For connection reuse, we already ensure that clients do not reuse a connection which do not share the different set of specific parameters. In particular, one parameters we check on connection reuse is the SSL SNI. Recently, the SSL SNI reuse code has been reworked and it is now rendered general. We have a new parameter associated to idle connection, which is now called name. This parameter is more flexible, and we can use any key you want as to identify the idle connection in a pool. So now let's bring that for the reverse HTTP case. So you have to perform this in two steps. First, on the attached server rule, we now use the name parameter to specify how the connection will be associated with a parameter. So in the example here, each connection on reverse and inserted in the connection pool will be associated with the certificate command name presented by the dialer. In fact, the name parameter can use a variety of HAProxy fetches, so you can use the parameter you want. Now, the second step. As an external user of the gateway, you want to specify which connection from the pool you want to use, reusing the same key used for the attached server rule. So in this case, this is the purpose of the pool codename keyword. In this case, we are using the standard HTTP host header. In fact, this process is quite similar to standard TLS. When you are using your browser and connect to a TLS server, the browser is checking the common name of the certificate presented by the server and compare it with the host you are trying to access. For reverse HTTP, we have introduced new features for the newest HAProxy 3.2 versions. The first one is the check reuse pool keyword. This keyword can be added on server line. It will instruct that checks are performed by reusing connection instead of instantiating a new connection. For reverse HTTP, this is mandatory if you want to perform check because by definition, these servers are unable to connect by themselves. But this keyword is also useful outside of reverse HTTP context. For example, if you are using TLS on your server and you do not want to perform a full on check for every checks, you can use this new keyword. The other keyword is idle ping. Idle ping can be activated on bind and on server line. It will perform a simple check to be able to detect if the connection is still active. It relies on the underlying multiplexer support. So for now, only HTTP2 implement a proper idle ping mechanism. For reverse HTTP, idle ping is quite useful. So for example, on the dialer, you can activate it on the bind line. And this will allow the dialer to periodically check the liveliness of the open connection. If one connection is not active anymore, the dialer will be able to actively reopen the connection to the gateway. Also, idle ping is useful to ensure that connection won't be removed due to inactivity timeout on the gateway or the dialer side. So, as stated earlier, reverse HTTP is still subject to configuration evolution. This is why it is still labeled as experimental. We have idea to simplify the configuration and go a bit further on the dynamic aspect of it. We know that some users have already started to use it and deploy it for their own usage. Currently, we also use it at HAProxy Technologies for development facility. Finally, we hope that reverse HTTP may gain some traction, maybe outside of HAProxy. If this is the case, we could imagine that other server softwares will start to implement it so that we won't need any more HAProxy on the dialer side. And in fact, you can also help it by implementing reverse HTTP in your favorite server language of choice. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any thought about it or any other interrogation. Thank you for your attention and have a great conference.